I'm just editing the show titles. Live from BTCManager Global Headquarters. Around the block with Jeff and Dave. July 29, 2019. Okay, waiting for synchronization. And we're on the air.
Live from BTCManager's global headquarters, this is Around the Block with Jeff and Dave.
Good day, crypto world. I'm Jeff. And holy cow, what another great week it's been. Up and down. Bitcoin has been all over the place. And now it's at 9,500 again. So, but still, we're still looking at one Bitcoin, actually $1 gets you more than 10,000 Satoshis. So if you're measuring this by Satoshis, we're actually still doing great. And this is probably still the best time to get into Bitcoin. Because China, the fourth largest bank in the world by assets, China posted a pro-Bitcoin infographic on its website. So what do you think about that? China unbans Bitcoin again. What do you think about that, Dave? Yeah, this could be good news, I think, for crypto, where you have what amounts to the fourth largest bank in the world by assets saying Bitcoin is good. So we want to hear what you think. So if you want to call into the show, what are our digits, Dave? So call into the show. We'll be happy to put you on the air, or you can Skype us. I'm at Jefferson.none on Skype. So, in other news, IRS has been sending out warning letters, and I talked to a few people that have gotten them actually. These are people that have done more than $20,000 worth of buys or sells on a crypto exchange in the United States. So, have you gotten one of those letters, Dave? Yeah, that's the thing. So I think it's just, on the one hand, I think it's fascinating that the IRS hasn't issued any crypto guidance on all the myriad of different crypto transactions that have to happen. I mean, to compare, if you buy $20,000 worth of stock on a regulated exchange in the United States, all the rules are very clear about how you treat that purchase of stock and what you're supposed to do with it. But in other news, if you buy $20,000 worth of crypto, and there's a lot of things that can happen with that crypto, there's been no regulation about that. Isn't that fascinating, Dave? Well, that's just it. I mean, imagine if in the early days of crypto, you buy $20,000 or even more, $100,000. Let's say you started out with 10,000, it spiked to 100,000 on Coinbase. You send it over to Mt. Gox, and you buy and sell a few other cryptos, and then you got goxed. The IRS has issued exactly zero guidance on what people are supposed to do about that. Yeah, I mean, that's going to be, that insane situation is going to be going on for a while. Meanwhile, the IRS wants their money. You know, they're chasing all the wrong people. Instead of going after these multinational global conglomerates that are hiding, well, collectively, they're hiding trillions doing tax dodges and tax scams. I mean, in fact, there was a guy, and I do feel sorry for him because his kid went to Sandy Hook. But there was a guy whose sole job it was, I come to find out, to help these corporations hide their money from taxes offshore. Like that, can you imagine that's your job? Can you imagine? Exactly. Their sole job in life is to help these corporations hide their money from the IRS. So you got that, and the IRS doesn't go after them. No, they go after Bitcoin. Well, that's the thing. I mean, there's plenty of people that have probably bought 10,000 worth of Bitcoin and lost it in an ICO scam, or they lost the password to their wallet. I just heard the other day somebody was given a gift of 50 Bitcoin a few years back, and he can prove he got the Bitcoin, the transaction there and everything. But he goes, "Oh, I better put a password on this," and he was really drunk when he put the password on it, and now he can't remember the password. There went 50 Bitcoin. So yeah, maybe it's the early days of rating. Well, the proper thing to do is to consult with the tax advisor. We can't give out tax advice on this show. Definitely consult with a licensed, credentialed tax advisor that can advise you on the tax implications of your transactions. Because at least there you have a defense. Well, correct. And I do know first in, first out always applies to any investment. If you buy $1 million of houses and you cash out exactly 1 million of your investment, that first million is not taxable. That applies to anything, currency exchanges or anything. So, but outside of that, you may be liable for taxes on any gains. And I think that's what the IRS is looking for. They're looking for some random billionaire that they can tax. Yeah, yeah, 2013 to 2015. And not to start with. I mean, they will have the records all through today. So it's better to prepare a solid defense, starting now, so you don't have to worry about it when they expand their scope in a few years. Well, then the IRS starts to use the tools in the toolbox, which the next step is an audit. They'll start mailing you a notice that you have to provide materials to the IRS for a formal audit. And if you ignore that, then they'll start to send the police after you. And you will be arrested if they can find you, like they do with John McAfee. Yeah. That's pretty much it. No, no. If you comply, if you let them know how much crypto holdings you have, number one, that's all they're asking for right now is how much Bitcoin you got, which is the worst because that means there's a centralized database with names and addresses of people that have crypto. Um, and I'm sure next, when they start to set up policies around that, you may have to be forced to continue to comply with whatever laws they decide to come up with at that time, at that future time, around crypto. There are plenty out there. E- Even Spain. Even Spain's pretty good. Yeah. Well, you can always renounce your citizenship. No, no, no. If you turn it in, then that's it. Well, like John McAfee, but he's still an American citizen. I do know and I am aware that there is a law that says if you renounce your citizenship, you can basically close your files in the U.S. at that point. Of course, you no longer have the privileges of being an American citizen, which means you have to be a citizen in whatever country you land in, right? But uh, well, no, no. You can close your file. There's a procedure, and at some point, once you close out your files with the IRS, then that's it. They can't go after you anymore. Even if they change their mind later, they can't. For sure. Oh, what I was saying. Okay, so yes, if you owe the IRS $10,000, they won't allow you to renounce your citizenship until you pay that. But if you pay off all your fees and everything, and then you close your files for the IRS in the process of renouncing your citizenship, then yes, at that point, that's it. They won't seek any future monies from you for whatever you had. And there have been several people, several billionaires, that have renounced their American citizenship. That's correct.
Interesting. Okay. I thought that anything that you made here in the United States, you had to pay capital gains on regardless of where you went and regardless if you renounced your citizenship or not.
It's only at the time of sale. That's how they track the gain. Until it's been sold, it hasn't been. You don't have a gain.
Yeah, but if you're in Malta and you sell now 100 bitcoins, once you've renounced your citizenship, are you liable to pay capital gains on those 100 bitcoins?
No, not to the U.S. Not to the U.S. No, they have no claim on it.
Interesting. Fascinating. Okay. Well, then people have other options if they're long-time hodlers, and if the, this is all still shaken out with legislation and regulators and minutia, and everybody's trying to figure all this out. What's the saying that they've got where first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they can get really mad, and then they fight you, and then you win.
I think we're at the fighting stage.
I think we're in the fighting stage, and Andreas Antonopoulos has always warned us about this. He goes, "This is not going to be pretty, people. Right now we're in this stage where they're just ignoring us and they're laughing at us. But when they realize there's nothing they can do about regulating Bitcoin, they're going to get really mad, and that's where we're at right now. They're really mad."
Yeah. Speaking of being laughed at, 90% of Americans don't trust Facebook Libra. What do you think about that?
I think that's hilarious because 90% of Americans don't even know what Bitcoin is.
Yeah, right. So, but yeah, I think it goes to show how they launched Facebook Libra with a horrible, horrible launch. They really didn't think that one through at all.
You talk about a half-baked idea. This wasn't even an eighth-baked.
Right. I mean, compare that to Initiative Q, which I don't know if you remember, Dave, but maybe about a year ago, this strange website came online with this completely viral marketing campaign. They signed up millions of people onto their platform with an email and a password type of thing, and all with the promise of some random amount of Q tokens. And they're not really set for launch until maybe sometime next year, is what they say. So compare that launch where they had this mystery, this viral marketing campaign that everybody heard about and so forth. Compare that to Libra. Crazy, huh?
It is crazy. I totally agree with everything you just said. It fascinates me that it was handled so poorly. And the thing that is interesting is if nothing else, it's at least woken people up to some level of adoption.
Yeah. I,
That part I'm happy about. That part I feel helps Bitcoin, but it's basically what it's done is it's woken up regulators.
well, speaking of people waking up, Business Insider went into a subway and she literally asked, "Do you accept Bitcoin or do you accept gold?" Isn't that hilarious? So gold is compared to, yeah.
You take a knife and scrape off a few shavings of gold and weigh it on a scale, or how do you do that?
Yeah, but I wonder. I mean, they always say, "Oh, Bitcoin's like gold." Well, not really, because Bitcoin is far more fungible. The only person that accepted gold as payment recently, and she's saying, is Donald Trump. He accepted 3 gold bars as a down payment on some commercial property back in 2011. So, I think it's fascinating that they always compare gold to Bitcoin. It's not like you can walk into a subway and buy gold and pay with gold, but you can actually pay with Bitcoin. At many, like at a Starbucks and like about 1,000 different types of restaurants and stores, there's a ability now for them to accept payment in Bitcoin. And as a matter of fact, you can go to these coin machines these coin stars, and you can buy Bitcoin that way, right?
Well, I saw something on BTCManager about some leading European airline was going to accept Bitcoin payments. I think it was Norwegian Air or something.
Yeah, Norwegian Airlines, more.
I would be curious to see if they accept gold too.
But that's the thing. There's a lot of schools that are accepting tuition payments in Bitcoin. There's a lot of vendors, street vendors that are starting to accept payment in Bitcoin. Um, so I think we're going to see a lot more adoption of Bitcoin than we ever are of gold.
Yeah, and it just, I find it fascinating that there's still so many people out there that keep getting on their bandstand saying it has no intrinsic value. And, the Peter Schiffs of the world that, they're always comparing gold to Bitcoin. And then just, well, take the US dollar. What intrinsic value does it have?
Right.
People believe in it because, if people believe in it, then they'll use it. But look at the Venezuelan Bolivar. People believed in it for a long time too, and now look at it.
Right, right. Well, last but not least, we want to touch on Solve.Care and healthcare. I did an interview with Pradeep Goel, the CEO of Solve.Care, and you'll be able to listen to it exclusively on BTC Manager's website and podcast. So after the show, head over to the website and you'll be able to listen in on to this interview. So here's the deal. I mean, healthcare is such a complicated situation here in America, and I personally have experienced some of the complications with it. And CNN recently did an article on this Doug Lindsay guy who really had a heck of a time because he had a complex medical situation, number one, and number two, he had to navigate the complexities of the American healthcare system with all the paperwork and everything else, and not a fun circumstance to be dealing with that for say 11 years before he finally got better. And so that's the deal: is how can we make healthcare simpler and even more affordable? So, what are your thoughts on this, Dave?
It's very interesting. I'm looking forward to hearing the interview. I have not listened to it yet.
All right. Well, that's the thing. So it's a great interview, which we'll lead off to in just a moment here. But the deal is with Solve.Care, they bring everybody together and they remove a lot of the barriers, that artificial barriers that are in the system, and they're really trying to make healthcare, better, to remove the barrier between doctors and patients. And if you think about it, that's really what's happened is over the last, say 50 or so years, is we keep putting up more and more of these barriers that actually end up taking away the ability of the patient to participate in their own health care. It's crazy, huh?
That's great.
All right, so coming up next is the interview with Solve.Care. But meanwhile, if you have any thoughts on this or any other show that we do, feel free to give us a call at, what are our digits?
808-825-6255.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Dave.
Glad to have you. Here's Pradeep Goel with Solve.Care.